employees born with certain traits, or can anyone motivate them? I think we should answer the first question before we go to the second one. So I would want the panelists to signify by raising their hand who would be taking the first question. What does it mean to be a high impact employee in the workplace today? Hello? Okay.
Hi.
Hello, Dr.
Can you hear
Omotola?
me?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Yes, please. So I just want to offer a bit of tips that can help. I'm not answering the question yet, but I just want
Okay.
us to get the flow correctly. You had
Okay.
mentioned you were inviting the first speaker. So maybe you were thinking you're going to call the name of the first speaker. Are you going to be
Right.
calling people to answer questions, or we'll just, because it might not be
No,
coordinated if you don't mention who you're asking the
I
question.
see. I see. I see. That is very helpful,
There are
Dr.
about 5 or 6 of us.
Okay.
Yes, so
Since
I'll
you,
answer the first question so that
no,
we can
please.
move on. Don't worry, I'll
Yeah.
answer the first question.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
as we move forward, since we have about 6 speakers, you could just call you could just, direct the question to a particular person so
Yeah.
that
So
it
it's
doesn't get
easier.
rowdy.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. So thanks for having me. In case you're hearing background noises, I'm at another event. I just got into my car to be a part of this. So pardon
Oh,
me.
thank
I
you.
hope that you can get the best of me. Thank you so much for having me, Kaizen Academy, and big well done, Mobola. Very interesting conversation because these days, particularly for us in HR, the key role that we have, a very important assignment is being able to drive performance and productivity in the organizations that we lead. Mobola, can you hear me? You're looking like
Yes,
you're
I can.
struggling to hear me.
No, I
I hope
can.
my network is good because I'm in the
It's
car.
fine. It's
Apologies.
fine.
Okay,
No
so yeah,
problem.
so from a human resources perspective, we lead organizations, we support organizations, and we're responsible for getting people in the room who understand what they are here to do and who helped the organization achieve its goals and objectives. So how do you spot a high impact employee, or how do you become a high impact employee yourself? The most important assignment for you as an employee, and the most important job that we have as HR people in driving or in ensuring that people come to the room with high impact, is ensuring that there's an alignment between the roles that they do and what the organization is set to achieve. So how do we build, or how do we drive clarity of jobs, clarity of assignments, clarity of job responsibilities? When you hire somebody for an organization for a role, is that role clear? That's the first point of call. Is that role clear? Are the job responsibilities clearly communicated to the person? And then when you get into a role, you pick up a role in an organization. For me, I say to career professionals all the time, it is not just 30 days make a pay. You hear people say things like, I beg, I'm just loyal to my pocket. It's not my father's business. You're there for an assignment. You're there for a reason. You will be doing yourself a lot of favor and even building on your experience if you identify your why. Why are you hired in that organization? Your what are you expected to do? Your how are you expected to deliver on your roles and responsibilities? Because it's one thing to know your job, it's another thing to understand how to deliver on that job in line with the expectations of your leaders who hired you or who brought you in to get work done. Identifying your who are your allies, who are your stakeholders, who are the people that you need to work with to get your job done, who are the people that need to support you on your role. So making it very simple and clear, why are you in the organization? What are you expected to do? How are you expected to deliver in line with expectations from me? As we get on into the conversation, we might get deeper, but it's important to understand who do you need to work with for your role to be extremely impactful. That's understanding the value you're set to add and how to add that value. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insightful contribution to the first question. How can you make yourself an high impact employee in the workplace today? We know that the workplace has changed since COVID and all the other things that we are still experiencing in the workplace. So I'll just go to the next question. How do you distinguish? I hinted on the next question. How do you distinguish an employee who is simply just doing their job well and those who are delivering exceptionally? I would like to have my panelist, Dr. Zainab, to answer this question, please. Is she online? I'm not able to see. I'm using a very small screen. I'm not able to see everybody.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I'm a bit under the weather, so I wouldn't be turning on my
We can see your face, it's fine.
We can see your face. I can just turn that on very briefly. Yeah, so okay. For me, I think that very quickly, when you have a high performing employee, is very easy to identify. You see employees who are going out of their way to ensure that things are being done. You see employees who are actively involved, in the decision making in the company. You see employees who are very drawn to also helping their colleagues, helping their team members, to achieve set goals and objectives. You see employees who do not just wait for the company to train them, but also go out of their way, do you understand, to ensure that they're developing themselves, by going for trainings, adding more certifications to themselves. No knowledge is being lost at the end of the day. So an employee who is actively engaged at work, in the workplace, when we're having when they're having TGIFs, when they're having conferences, when they're having town hall meetings, they are always at the top of it. Then you understand that this employee is an employee who, is very engaged, is a high performing employee. And even for those other employees who are not doing so well, on their jobs, or because of one thing or the other, you see, they try to coach, they try to mentor, they're not afraid to take up responsibilities. They're not afraid to take up new roles. They're not afraid to express themselves. Whether something is going right in the company or something is going wrong, you would see these people at the forefront, of everything, trying to make sure, that they're being heard, they're being noticed. That way, that this employee is actually an employee who is very engaged, is a high performing employee, and is also an employee who cares about even the other people who are not really performing, at work. So it's very easy to identify these employees when you see them. Even during appraisals, you see them, they're coming out with, high scores. They're the ones that are exceeding expectations. They're not on the average of just meeting expectations. They're constantly exceeding expectations, so those ways you're able to identify high performing employees and distinguish them, from those who are not really, on the high performing side. And for those who are not really on the high performing side as well, there are different factors that lead to it. Life happens. There's some people, you may see them this period, they're very high performing, and the next period you may see that probably in their appraisals they didn't really meet up to expectations. As leaders, as HR in the company, what do we do? What is our duty towards these people? You have to try and find out why, if an employee has been a high performing employee, is an employee who is always out there trying to make sure that set goals are met, and all of a sudden that employee just becomes very quiet or very drawn back. As leaders, as HR in the organization, you want to find out why that is happening. So I think that's just a very short
Thank you so much
to your question. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I think that summarizes it. That just gives an insight of what employees need to do to distinguish themselves from just being an employee that earns a paycheck, just coming to work and does their job, or an employee who is exceptional? Thank you for that contribution. So I'll go to the next question, which is, are high impact employees born with certain traits, or can anyone cultivate them? And I will go to my panelists, Samuel, to give us his insight into this particular question. Samuel, are you there? Samuel? In the interest of time, can I please go to Beth to answer this question? Beth, are you there?
Hi, Mobola. Yes,
Hello.
I am.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So I will say, are high impact employees born, or do they cultivate? So definitely not born. They're not born. So you have to, they cultivate those skills needed to be high impact employees. The last panelist was saying something, Zainab. She mentioned things, how you can know who is just doing their tax or who is actually a high impact employee. So for you to cultivate them, one of the things that you must do, or that you have to do, typically you would have high impact employee be people who deliver consistency, who are consistently delivering value. That consistency is there. The people who are reliable. You reach out to someone in your team or one of your staff, and you are sure that you can always depend on this person. So you can say that person is an high impact employee. Those skills, you're not born with them. You learn them as you grow. And then it's someone who also has an ownership mindset. So really, an high impact employee, distinguished from all others, the mindset plays a very big role. How you think, how you see things, what's your approach, and what's your perspective to things. High impact employees see things this way. How do you get to that level? You cultivate those skills. You're not born with them. So to answer your question, simply, no high impact employees, but to cultivate them.
I agree with you, Beth. Thank you for that contribution. Is someone on the call? If you can just indicate. Okay, we'll just move to the next question. What early signs indicate that someone is evolving into an high impact contributor? And I'll go to Dr. Zainab for this one. Is Dr. Zainab still able to answer this question? I recall she said she was in transit or in another program. In the interest of time, Adetun, can you please help us with this question? What early signs indicate that someone is evolving into a high impact contributor?
Good afternoon, Omobola. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So the question is, what are the early signs that someone is evolving into a high impact contributor? So first of all, for anyone to evolve from a particular space to another space, that person has to be self-aware. So you have to know the level at which you operate in the organization before you begin to evolve to a high impact employee. And the signs that one will begin to see as HR professionals that this employee is evolving, you begin to see the person ask questions, begin to see the person get involved in projects, begin to see the person display the qualities of a high impact employee, which is, the person begins to innovate, solve problems, ask questions, see things before they happen and try to step in, to solve problems. So, like I said, you have to be self-aware to evolve into a higher level. You have to know the level at which you operate, and then the signs that you begin to see, the person begins to perform better. They begin to do their jobs better than they used to. They begin to understand the organizational goals better and begins to contribute, more effectively and efficiently, do their jobs better, and begin to display and imbibe qualities of a high performing employee. You begin to see them take initiative, get involved in projects, ask questions, resolve issues, they step into things, and try to make things happen. Those are the signs that you see that someone is evolving. When you begin to see the person more, let me put it that way, when you begin to see the person show more interest in the work that you do, I think that answers that question. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to stay with you on that question because the next question leads on from the answers that you provided. So the next question is, how do high impact employees influence team culture and performance beyond their individual roles?
Okay, so high impact employees, they hold naturally displaying leadership qualities, irrespective of the level they are in the organization or the role that they currently handle in the organization. So you begin to see them take leadership. You begin to see them influence. High impact employees would influence other employees with their positive attitude, their professionalism. They share knowledge with co-workers, they collaborate with people, they are good team players. So high impact employees definitely has a positive influence on other, employees in the organization. They collaborate well within their team and even outside of their team. That they show leadership skills, they influence others with their positive behavior. And another quality of high impact employees, kindness. They display kindness in the workplace. They share knowledge, and just when they even see the people that are not as high performing as they are, they try to bring them up to speed. So they display professionalism, positive attitude, leadership qualities regardless of their level in the organization, and share knowledge, collaborate with others. That's how a high impact employee influences others.
Thank you so much for that insightful contribution. The next question is, what steps can an employee take to identify where they can add the most value? And I will go to Dr. Zainab for this one. Is Dr. Zainab still with us? Can I have Best answer the question if Dr. Zainab is not able to respond to us immediately?
Of course, Mobile.
Thank you.
So what steps can an employee take? So I'll say, firstly, you need to understand the bigger picture. So for you to be able to change something, you need to understand how you fit into that thing you need to change. The organization has some form of strategy. So we're talking about the workplace now. How does my job or how does my role fit into what the organization is asking us to do or what the organization's objectives are? So firstly, they need to get an understanding of what the bigger picture is. And then secondly, I would say it is have a mindset shift. Dr. Motala was mentioning something about people saying, oh, it is not my job, I'm just here to make my money. You need to have a complete shift in your mindset. How would you treat it if it was your own business? Would you treat it lackadaisically? Would you want someone to just come to work and not put in any work and earn their money if it was your business? Things like that. You need to have a shift in your mindset. You need to see the bigger picture, have that shift in mindset, and then you can talk about other things will follow after that. When you see things differently, then you'll be able to know what other things you can do to deliver the KPIs. Everything else follows after that. The thinking comes first, if you ask me. So that's my take.
Absolutely, the thinking comes first. I would move quickly to the next question, which is, how critical is aligning personal goals with organizational objective to be noticed? And I will go to Dr. Omotola for this one.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
It is super critical, 300% critical. Why? Because when you talk about impact starts with doing exactly what the organization needs you to be doing. You can be highly intelligent, highly experienced, highly competent, but your delivery or your value is not solving a real organizational problem. So when organizations are forming at whatever stage of growth or maturity, they identify business problems and they create roles that solve those problems. When roles are created to solve business problems, suitable employees are identified to sit in those roles. That's in an ideal situation where, you know, the organizational development team and HR know what they're doing and business leaders know what they're doing. So if you're brought into an organization to fulfill a role, you're invariably solving a problem. If your initiatives, your day-to-day, your activities are not aligned with the problem that was set out to solve from the start, we can't say that you're delivering impact. What is impact? People feel your value, the organization feels your value, and you are contributing to the growth of that organization. Growth happens when our goals and objectives are being met. So I say to leaders and employees, the first thing you do in the first 1 week, in fact, 90 days is too far, 30 days is too far. The first thing you do in the first week that you're getting into an organization, sometimes don't just assume that the job description that was advertised when you were interviewed is what is still playing out. Don't just assume that, oh, what they told you in the course of recruitment at the interviews, when you ask them, what would I do when I join and all of that, don't just assume. Don't assume that even what they told you at the onboarding session. Have a sit down, a face-to-face with your boss, the direct line manager, and find out two things. What is my role? What problems is my role expected to solve on this team, in this organization? That's for you and your role within your team, working with your boss. That's the first thing to find out. The second thing to find out is, what is the big picture for the organization? Where are we headed? Why are we even in existence? What is our purpose? What is our vision? What is our mission? What does it mean to be an employee of such and such and such organization? What is the bigger problem that this organization seeks to solve? Do you know why you need to do that? Because sometimes line managers are even out of alignment. So it will betide you if you're reporting to someone who in his entire team and the entire thing he believes his department should be doing is out of alignment to what the organization is set to achieve. So in very simple terms, getting into a new role, and not just when you resume, periodically, every quarter, every 6 months, every year, at your appraisal discussion, use that as an opportunity to realign, reconfirm, realign your thought process with where you are at within the organization and where the organization is headed. So that helps you to continually deliver on expectations. It helps you to continue to deliver on roles and responsibilities that fit into the specific problems that your role was intended to solve when you were hired.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Omotola. Thank you. I hope you guys are taking notes and learning how to become an high impact employee for the respective organizations you work for at the minute. I'm going to go to the next question. I don't know if Dr. Zainab can hear us now. I've not been able to get a...
Yes, I can hear you, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So the next question will go to you. How can an employee sustain high performance without risking burnout?
Okay, so for me, I always tell everyone, including the team that I work with, that there has to be a balance to everything, in life. It's important that you plan and you prioritize. You have to plan and you have to prioritize. People I work with, I tell them, every day, you must have a to-do list. Every employee has their set goals, their set KPIs, which they need to achieve, right? If you don't plan and you don't prioritize according to importance, the honest truth is you're going to get worn out, because you're going to be doing different things at the same time, trying to achieve every single thing at once. But if you have your calendar, if you have your to-do list properly planned, it makes things easier for you, because you're able to prioritize according to importance, number one. You're able to tick off once a task is completed, number two. Once that is being done, you yourself, you feel the relief. But if you're doing every single thing at the same time, you're not able to track your achievements, because you are hardworking, but you're not working smart. There are two different things. There's being hardworking, there's being coming to work every day, and people see you on your decks with papers, people you see you walking up and down, as HR, HR is coming. But are you actually working smart? Are you actually working smart? So prioritizing your task, your KPIs according to importance, setting deadlines for your achievements is very, very important. When you prioritize, when you have a to-do list, I don't do anything without a to-do list. Every day when I resume work, I have my to-do list ready. These are the things that I'm supposed to achieve for today. These are the things that I must have done for today. Sometimes, yes, we're all human beings. You may not be able to achieve everything that you've set for the day, but at least the ones that you have achieved, you've ticked them off. You've ticked them off, and you're able to measure the progress, of what you're doing. That way, you won't be burnout. Then also, there's nothing wrong in asking for help, no matter the years of experience that you have. Yeah, I might have 14, 15 years of experience, but I don't know it all. So if you have any task that you need to achieve, and you're struggling with it, whether as a head of department, whether as a manager, whether as a junior staff, ask for help. Because if you don't ask for help, you would not get that help. You might feel shy. Oh, I don't want them to think, oh, I'm not smart, I'm not this, I'm not that. But the truth is that you are the one who is still going to be lacking at the end of the day, because that task will not get done, and you will get burnt out. You will get burnt out. So having a very supportive team, a supportive leader, a supportive manager, a supportive team, asking for help, organizing yourself, knowing when to take a break, knowing when to continue. It's not about you're working, you resume your work at 7 o'clock, you close at 7 o'clock in the evening, you get home, you don't even rest, you're back on your computer, you're back on your system, you've not even eaten, you sleep, you wake up you need to remember, the truth is that, yes, as much as I'm HR and I want you to achieve your KPI, at the end of the day, you matter first before any other thing. If anything happens to you today, the truth is that by tomorrow, I'll be the first person who is going to post out the job vacancy. Unfortunately, it may sound harsh, but that's the reality. That's the reality. So yes, I understand you want to be a top employee. I understand that you want to, achieve this, achieve that, but you have to help yourself. Trust me, if you've been having issues with not meeting up to expectations, you just feel like you're being scattered at work, if you develop a to-do list, it would really, really help you. That's the first thing you need to do, and then prioritize your health. When you're at work, I know people who are at work. There's this lady that I worked with far back when I worked in First Bank. From when we resumed the office till we closed, she would never stand up from her seat. And I'm asking myself, like, don't you even go to the toilet to pee? Don't you even eat? You know, that alone is not even good for your system. Take walks. You need to stand up at work. Take walks. There are just some time that your brain just even needs to just be away from your laptop, even if it's just for 5 minutes, so that your brain can reboot back and you can think straight. But when you are so engrossed in work, and you don't think about any other thing, there's no how you will not be burned out. You don't have a social life. You don't even when they're having all this HR conferences, HR, you know, this, that, you never go, you never join. You're just on your own, you know, trying to do this, trying to do that. You can't grow like that. Nobody's an island of their own. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab. We had a contributor in the chat, Temi Adedoja. She just added a voice to-do list, confirming what Dr. Zainab said, that you need a to-do list and it helps you prioritize and work in smart. So it seems like everybody has gotten the memo on this to-do list. So if you haven't, you need to.
I wanted to ask if I could. Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I wanted to ask if I could add a few thoughts to what Dr. Zainab mentioned.
Yes, you can.
I know that many times when we talk about burnout, we're only looking at the physical side. And thank you so much, Dr. Zainab, for everything you shared. Very valid. I just want to add the mental side to it. Sometimes we're mentally burnt out and we don't know what we're experiencing is burnout. Sometimes we think it's until it gets into a blanket called depression that we're having a mental health issue. You can be physically fit, not feeling physically stressed, not feeling any pain in your body, but you're mentally burnt out. When you're mentally burnt out, what are the symptoms? You're constantly feeling tired. You're constantly feeling lack of motivation. You get up, you don't want to go to work. You're looking forward to, please, when is closing time? I just want to get out of here. Sometimes we discover we're mentally checked out of a place. And that's because you're burnt out. Now, those are the symptoms. What are the causes or what leads to that? Or how do you avoid that? You need to always check that you're doing something that gives you fulfillment, something that you find joy doing, not just happiness. You find joy doing in the fact that there is I'm back to problems. There's a problem you're solving on a daily basis and you're finding joy doing what you're doing. That's number one. Number two is checking the environment that you're in. Do you work with people who add to your energy or who take out of it? When you're working with a boss or colleagues that constantly do not give you that sense of appreciation of the work that you do, you might be in the wrong environment. And that's why in my coaching sessions, I coach a lot of career professionals. The first thing we're checking is, what does that environment do to you? Does it make you feel positive about yourself? Does it make you think positive things about the future of your job and your career? So it's always very important to guide your environments, because even if you're not physically burnt out, you might be mentally burnt out, and that starts to hamper your confidence, start to reduce your productivity, because you just get into a routine. You might actually be performing, but at some point you've entered into a routine state of doing things and nothing feels challenging anymore. So if you find yourself in that kind of environment, it's important to reevaluate that environment. Is this still serving my goals? Is this still, making me feel positive? If you're in the wrong environment, you might need to start looking at changing that environment. And what do you do when you're looking out for a new environment? In conversations, when you research, when you engage potential people you will work with, ask very important questions about the culture, not just at the interviews, but ask people who have worked in those places, particularly with those, leaders that you're likely to work with, and the people generally. How does it feel like? That's where culture comes in, and it's very important for your mental health. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adedapo. I just wanted to add one thing to what she said, and this is also for every one of us who is actually in HR, because HR is always on the lookout for everyone, but we actually forget to look out for ourselves as well. So as HR, when you find yourself in the situation which Dr. Omotola has just described or has just explained. What do you do? Because HR is supposed to be the one that guides the people. You're supposed to be the one that checks them, their mental health and all that. Then when you are now in that situation, what's the best thing to do, or how do you go about it? I've always said, like what I said in the last thing I said is, you always have to reach out for help, because truly you might be mentally down, you might not even know, because you are saddled up with so much responsibilities of, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, and then no one is actually checking on you yourself as HR. Please ensure that you actually do reach out for help. Have someone, have a mentor you can speak to, that can give you advice, that can bring you out from that mood that you are in. Because if not, you're always just going to feel unfulfilled with whatever you're doing. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab and Dr. Omotola. I was going to just on the back of the message that Temi Adedoja put in the chat, that is always better to have a to-do list that helps you work smarter and prioritize your task. Now, in this age of AI, a computer doing a lot of things are automated. If you use Outlook, there are tools you can use on Outlook to prioritize or to get your to-do list done, and you can tick them off, and you can prioritize them in order of how important the task or the task is. So people should cultivate the habit of planning their day ahead of the day, and then you can see what you've left out. So I move quickly to another question, which is, how should an employee balance delivering value with following processes? A lot of organizations have processes that have been documented, or you hear in organizations, some would say, oh, this is how we do it here. So how do you balance delivering value and working through those processes? And I would go to, I think Best has had to leave the call. She had to take another assignment, so I will probably have to come to Adetone for this, for an answer to this question. So how do you deliver value with already established processes within an organization? Adetone.
Okay, so having established processes in an organization does not mean that you cannot improve on those processes, and it doesn't mean that you cannot find ways to do your work better and deliver, value to the organization. So you have processes, laid down processes. As an high impact employee, you should be able to, review processes and think of ways to do things better. So you're not throwing away the processes that are in place already, but you're thinking of ways to improve on that processes. Every organization is continuously learning and also looking for ways of improving. Otherwise, why are you employed into that organization if you're just there to just, follow processes and deliver, expectation? You're supposed to deliver beyond expectation. So there are processes in place which you should follow, but it doesn't stop you from, using your initiative, being creative, being innovative, and looking for better ways to improve on those processes. It's about delivering value to the organization and making things, you don't leave things the way you met them, you make them better. So irrespective, regardless of following processes does not stop you from adding value to the organization, and it doesn't stop you from, improving on those processes, thinking of better ways to do things, continuously learning. Your organization itself is continuously learning. So, delivering high value and still following the laid down processes you still need to improve, look for ways to improve on those processes. Think of ways to do things better. Dr. Motola mentioned that you shouldn't just, think beyond the job description that was given to you when you joined the organization. Oh, this is what was given to me. This is how it is done. It's A, B, C, D, and that is how I'm going to do it and deliver value. You cannot deliver value that way. You have to constantly question things, review things, use your initiative, do research, ask questions, in other organizations, how are these things done? How are they getting results? So delivering value following laid out process is good. You meet expectations, but you have to, do beyond that, exceed expectations, and that's how you become an high impact professional. Review processes, think of better ways to do things, review things, even your KPI, your job description, question it. I'm not saying go against, organizational policies and all, but question it. We can do this better. This can be added. This can be removed. Things are not meant to be static. So it's just about being creative, using your initiative, having a growth mindset, being open-minded, to a whole lot of things. And thereby you definitely deliver value to the organization.
Thank you for that insightful comment. I would have loved for you to address those that would say, this is how we've always done it here. There's no need to change, but I'll stay with you. I would stay with you for the next question. So the next question is around what's the role of continuous development in delivering consistent value to the organization? So if you just address the people that don't want to change, this is how we've always done it here, even if it's wrong, this is how we've done it here, and then answer the next question on the role, continuous learning. What's the role of continuous learning in delivering value to the organization consistently?
Okay, so I'll start with those people that say this is how it is done, and so therefore that's how it must be done. Well, people like that, when we identify people like that, you have to find ways of, changing their mindset. So, and then it also depends on the approach that you use. You're not taking away what you do. It's still like that. We'll do it like that, but we can do it better. So sometimes approach matters. Sometimes these people think you totally want to erase. Maybe it's their own, creation or their own, and they started that thing or created that policy or whatever it is. So they think you want to take it away totally. That's why I said that's where approach comes in. You're not taking it away. It's still this. We still want to achieve this, but we can do it this way, that way, and then we still achieve better results. So that's what I would say about dealing with people like that. It may be difficult, but we can get through it with approach, the way we engage them, and all of that. And then when we talk about continuous learning, sorry, what's the question again? How continuous learning?
What is the role of continuous learning? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so what is the role of continuous learning in delivering value to the organization consistently?
So learning does not stop. You cannot stop learning. If you stop learning, then you remain on the same level. Your career growth remains the same. You're the person that they cannot move away from that desk, because all you know is that thing that you do and the way you do it. So continuous learning would have impact on delivering high value in the organization, because things are constantly changing and you cannot afford to remain on that level that which you are or the way that you do things. There is this uncertainty in the world. There's so much unease. Organizations want to move fast. There's competition. There's, so continuous learning, you cannot take away continuous learning. You cannot take away its impact on delivering high value in the organization. It's two in one. If you're not a person that continuously learns, then you're not even a high, impact employee. So continuous learning and development is very critical to delivering value. Read that book, take that certification, technology is constantly changing. So you just look for ways to improve on yourself. You cannot sit down and be writing a memo. You're using 2 hours to draft memo. When AI is there that can, help you do that you will review and retweak and all of that. But you just have to continuously learn. Otherwise, you'll be burnt out. If you don't continuously learn, you'll be burnt out. We're talking about mental burnout and all of that because you're not learning, you're not improving, you're fixated, you're just there. So, and even organizations continue to learn. They continue to see which technology would help us do things better. How do we, improve on our customer, deliver the best of the best customer service to our customers and all of that. So continuous learning is very critical. You cannot do without it. You just have to keep learning. You have to, on your job, what are the new trends? What is happening? You have to learn. You have to read. You have to speak with people. You have to engage people in your within and outside of your organization. Learning does not stop. You have to continuously develop yourself to add value to the organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Adetun. The next question, I have a question in the chat, and I would like Dr. Zainab to please help us answer this question. So Shola wants to know if office politics is inevitable to grow up to the ladder. And then also he goes further to say, what do you do when despite all you do, your bosses don't acknowledge your effort? And I once had a boss who left threatening and kept saying, I would fire you. So, Dr. Zainab, can you please help us respond to that? How is office politics inevitable when you're growing within an organization? And how do you navigate this especially when you have bosses who never acknowledge all your effort and the value you deliver? Dr. Zainab. If I'll just have
let me answer the question.
Yes, please. I was going to come to you.
Yes, I'm in the spirit. So I'll answer the question. There's a cancer going on right now in organizations, and it's a thing called toxic bosses. In some of the forums I go, I say that the reason why I would continue to have toxic bosses is because the fact that we don't have people who are confident in the talent that they have. First of all, we have people who are not taking the time, energy, and attention to build their talent in a way that you're not at the mercy of any organization. That's the first gift you can give to yourself. Building your competences and building your confidence to be able to attract any role that you desire. It is a flex. It is a gift. It is something to really boast about. Build your brand, build your competences and your brand to the point where you are in high demand. When your bosses know that at any given time you can take a walk, they won't behave and act the way they do. Now, to answer your question, yes, office politics is a very important phenomenon. We must understand how to play. And when I say play, I don't mean get in the mud and play dirty with the people that play dirty, but understand the game. You don't have to play dirty. And what does playing dirty mean? Just putting people down, trying to get ahead, destroying people's careers in the name of elevating your own. That's the dark side of office politics. But there's a measure of politics we all need to have. I will use the word emotional intelligence, political astuteness, mental awareness, situational awareness, cultural astuteness. There are a lot of names to call it that doesn't make it feel negative. But if you don't understand all of these things, EI, cultural awareness and cultural astuteness and political astuteness, you're going to always be at the bottom barrel of the games every other person around you is playing. Now, how do you identify office politics and effectively position yourself to not be at the bottom end of it? Understand your environment. It starts with understanding. When you get into a team, understand your boss. Understand the kind of personality they have. What are the things that make this person tick? What are the things that they don't like? What are the things that they like? Now, whilst it sounds bizarre, why would I want to fashion my work based on how my boss wants work to work? In the kind of environment that we're in, we still have an environment that highly places certain people in power. They still have the longer end of the stick. It used to be like that. It is changing now. And more people are, like I started with, more and more people are understanding that they have the power in their hands. But in your organization, there is a culture. How do they like to do things around there? What are the things that fester? What are the things that are commended? What are the things that are condemned? And that's why in the last time I spoke, I said that understanding your environment and knowing the kind of energy it gives you is important to deciding if you really should be there. So there are bosses who are very political, very ambitious, who will do anything to get ahead, including throwing you, their team members, under the bus. There are team members and colleagues who are sent from the pit of hell to frustrate you. They are the weapons fashioned against you. So it's important to understand everybody around you, your stakeholders. Stakeholder mapping is very important. Understand who is really for you. Understand who is pretending to be for you. Understand who is just close to you, close enough to you to get information to use against you. So mind what you say, mind where you say it, mind who you say it to, mind what you hear. In fact, hear as much as you can hear, because many times the distance between you and getting into trouble is the information that you have. So many things are in front of you. They are not what they seem. And many times in organizations, the more you look, the less you see. Something is right in your face. You don't know that something is going down behind that person you see, behind that meeting that is happening. There's meeting before the meeting after the meeting, and you're just innocently entering the meeting. You don't know what has been said before. You don't know what will be said after. You just think people are there. A lot of people are not just there to work. They are there to kill careers. They are there to swallow dreams and destinies. I don't want to be too, deep about it, not to scare you, but be highly discerning. Shine your eye is the easiest way to put it. Be very highly discerning. If you're a spiritual person, pray, right? When you get into work in your conversations, always know that many times, 98% of the time, there's an underlying conversation. There is context to everything you see. The context you might or might not know. So in choosing your allies, be very careful to be as connected to, I won't say gist so that it doesn't sound like gossip, but just always know that if there is context to something, you want to be ahead of that context. You want to be aware of that context so that when you're submitting your proposals, when you're correcting somebody in the meeting, when you're advising, demonstrating your competence and counseling and, just advising in your capacity, always know that maybe there's a way to say certain things, and maybe there's somebody to face head on. There's someone to keep quiet for. It is all in the politics. Most importantly, understand where you are at, understand the players of that game, understand how they play it so that you can better position to not be used as pawns in their game and to not be pushed to the bottom of the barrel. These are very important things to understand.
Thank you so much, Dr. Omotola. I think time is really fast spent, so we're just going to breeze through the next couple of questions and be out of here. Thank you. And I was going to mention that if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and I would read them as we get the opportunity to do so. So the next question is, how can an employee increase visibility without appearing self-promotional? I would come to Dr. Zainab for this one, if she's able to speak to us. If not, I would go to Adetong. Adetong or Dr. Zainab would be happy to take that question for us. How to increase visibility without appearing self-promotional? Without looking like you're trying to sell yourself, pretty much.
Okay, so, the honest truth is that in my own opinion, in the workplace, no matter what you do, there are those who will like you, there are those who will not like you. it has to be about yourself, what you know that your main aim and your main goal is. If you wanting to make sure that you're being seen for your hard work is appearing to someone else like you're trying to sell yourself, then so be it. I mean, so be it. They too should try to sell themselves to make sure that they're being noticed and they're being seen. Because at the end of the day, everybody has a goal. Everybody has what they want to attain in life. Everybody's personality cannot be the same. Everybody has different, personalities. So I think the important thing is, as long as you are not being you're not being aggressive about it, you're not talking down on other people, just to make sure that you are the one being seen. As long as you're being professional about it, I don't think that you should pay too much attention to what any other person thinks. I think that your confidence level should be 100. Because like I said, everywhere you work, especially when you're HR, there are people who will like you. There are people who won't like you for any reason. There are people who will not even like you just because you are doing the right thing. I've been in that kind of situation before. I've been in a situation whereby everyone is like, oh, why is she so confident? Oh, is she the only one? Oh, why does everybody like her? It's okay. It's okay. But once you have your mind set to what you want to achieve, please go for it. Please don't be distracted. As long as you know that what you're doing is not affecting any other person negatively. Do you understand? You're not being rude about it. You're not being bossy about it. You're not being aggressive about it. And the truth is that a shining star can never be hidden. That's just the truth.
Absolutely.
You can't hide. If you put stones and you put diamonds, the diamonds will always shine brighter than the stone. That is just the truth. So I say be confident, never be intimidated. I've always known that when you stick with what is true and not what is popular, at the end of the day, it always helps. So you wouldn't say, oh, because the whole company is doing this, let me do this. If the whole company is doing it and it's not right, why should you do it? Why when you know this thing is not right? There are times where as an individual in your career, you will have to take that strong stand to say, this is not my belief. This is not what I believe in, and I'm not going to do it. It's okay if everyone feels a certain way about me. I'm not going to do it. So just as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're not being verbally, insultive or intimidating with anybody, you have a goal, this is what you want to achieve, please go for it, irrespective of how you feel anybody feels. It's not a matter of you're selling yourself. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to be seen for the good work that they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Shola has a couple of questions in the chat. I would read one, and then Temi Ade daughter has made another comment. So I would go to Shola, answer one of the questions, read one of the questions out again, and then we'll come back to Temi. It's like three-packed question. Shola wants to know if seeking change of jobs regularly fast-track your career, what can you do if your immediate boss is stealing your promotion, and what can you do to become noticeable by decision maker in your office? Which leads me to the next question I was going to ask. So I'm going to go to Dr. Omotola for that question, but I also want her to answer the next question while she's answering or responding to Shola's three-packed question. So the question is, can you share example of actions that instantly elevates an employee's visibility in the organization? So Dr. Omotola.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Do you want me to repeat Shola's question?
No. I heard the question. Now I'm paying attention. I love this question because I have worked with 8 organizations in 15 years. So I think I can answer this question. But when I'm answering the question, I'll start with the fact that don't So your question is, does working in multiple organizations increase your or fast track your career? And how do you build visibility? Or the visibility question, was it your question, Bobola, or Shola's question as well?
No, it was my question. The visibility question,
the visibility
example of how to become
okay,
become visible.
Yes, I'll come to that. Let me answer Shola's question. There is nothing wrong with working in multiple organizations. It has worked for me. But let your reason for working in multiple organizations not be because you want to fast track your career. Because if you do that, what it means is every time you're in an organization, you're only there just counting time to move to the next one. Now, whilst you're gaining speed, are you gaining depth? Is the important conversation here. It doesn't matter if you've worked in one organization for 15 years, or if you've worked in 10 organizations in 15 years, are you building depth? Is the real metric to measure your growth. Because if you've worked in a place for 15 years and I'm interviewing you based on the years of experience you have and the kind of level I expect you to be operating at, and you're not operating at that level, there's a problem. So for me is the question you should be asking yourself, and opportunities where you have the chance to ask is, how do I build depth? How do I build quality? How do I build content? So that when I introduce myself as a professional and I have opportunities to engage and people get to listen to what's in my head, they won't be disappointed. What are you building? Even if it's 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year in an organization, what are the things that you do? What are the projects that you lead? What are the initiatives that you bring? What are the things that you drive? What is the value that you add? 6 months here, 8 months there, 1 year there, and you're just running around won't benefit you. So I don't have a problem. I don't care. Change organizations every 6 months or stay in a place for 5 years. What's important for me is, what depth are you building? How do you intentionally develop yourself? Let me tell you the truth. If development was 100%, I can promise you the maximum an organization will do for you is 30%. And I'm not even talking trainings. What you learn on the job experience is about 30% of everything you learn. Now, and that's the reason why people can be in a place for 20 years. Put them beside someone that has worked for just 5 years. The difference sometimes is mind-blowing. Now, what makes up the remaining 70% of the quality of talents that you are? Your exposure, your attitude. What do you expose yourself to? What are you learning? Who are you learning from? Who are you listening to? Coaching, mentoring, industry exposure. What kind of conversations are you involved in? And who do you meet? What people do? How do the people you meet, how do they challenge you? So academically, professionally, other, small trainings here and there, and the kind of projects you do, those are the things that make up 70% of the content that you have on your inside. So I wouldn't tell you whether you should change jobs every 6 months or whether you should work in a place for 5 years. Do you? However way it makes you comfortable, however way you're able to sleep at night. But most importantly, how do you measure growth? The depth you're building, the content you're building, the kind of things you're exposed to, and how you are intentional about that growth. Now, to answer your question, Mobola, on visibility, please, I'm begging you, there are 2 types of visibility, and do not limit it to just one. Being visible inside the organization and being visible outside the organization. Please don't downplay either of them. You have to be visible both within and outside. If you're here and on your LinkedIn bio, you introduce yourself as HR, whatever, HR business partner, finance manager, or logistics manager, or whatever, please go and change it. Is my advice. If you want to take it, fine. But please be able to build an identity outside of the organization you work. When people ask you, when they try to meet you, oh, what's your name? What do you do? Or who are you? You should be able to have an identity outside of where you work. If you lose that job today, who are you? What is left? My name is Dr. Motola Dayodedapo. I'm an HR leader, certified coach, and consultant. Full stop. Is when we get into further conversations, I'll tell you where I work. I'll tell you what I'm doing there if you specifically ask. But outside of the place you work, what is your identity? Jobs come and go. When those jobs come and go, who is left? Who are we experiencing? Who are you to the world? So please, in your visibility journey, it is very important to build visibility within, because that's what determines your growth. You need to grow in your organization. You also need to grow outside of it. I remember I said that everything you will be, your organization maybe at most plays 30% of that. But what do you do outside of your organization? Who are the people you meet? Because even when you build depth and a large network outside, it also helps you in the organization. That's when people say you're resourceful. Oh, Omotola knows this person. Omotola knows that person. It is because of the relationships I'm building on the outside, which I'm also using to improve my job, which is what every professional should look forward to. So don't just be there. You wake up, you go to work, you leave, you sleep, you wake up, and it's just about the work. Because when you build relationships outside, it helps you to be resourceful. When there are problems and they need someone, they need a go-to person, they would always come to you because you're the one that knows everybody. You build quality relationships that can even help the organization. That is my story. And that is what everybody, needs to work on as well. In building your visibility, Dr. Zainab mentioned earlier, go out and attend conferences, attend events. In your industry, if you're a finance person, are you ACCA certified? Are you ICANN certified? Do you go for their programs? Some of us are socially lazy. We just, they've come again. There's nothing they are saying that I've not heard. There might be some, you might have heard everything they will say, but have you met everybody you can meet there? It's not just about what they're saying, the people, the conversations, and how you also put yourself out there. LinkedIn, with some of us have just taken LinkedIn as just a place where people that are looking for job go to. And then you call some of us that are very active there, we're making noise. If by all means, you don't want to make noise, it's fine. But just understand that people who are building their brand and they're being very intentional about the brand that they're building, they're reaping the benefits. So if it's important for you to be visible, please don't downplay LinkedIn. Don't downplay other social, don't downplay WhatsApp groups. That thing is gold. Some of you are ghost members on WhatsApp. You've been in a group for 7 years. Nobody will hear your voice. And you'll be reading comments and watching others typing, and you just be there, humming and say, this one has come again. And that is how they are being noticed. You're just there being a ghost member, entering and coming out and just wondering, this one has come again. They will keep coming again, and you'll be looking at them, they'll be growing. So WhatsApp communities are very beautiful ways to put yourself out there, engage in very important discussion, open your mouth and talk. God gave you those gifts, those potentials that make you. Let the world see it. Let the world feel your magic. Very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Omotola. You said they've come again, noisemakers. Thank you for that insight. You have to, outside the job, who are you? You have to be visible, and Dr. Omotola put it so concisely. And LinkedIn, engage, interact, and just make yourself visible. So we have Shola. Shola wasn't a question. Shola was just a voice to pretty much the summary of what Dr. Omotola said. So the organization is not, you're not at the organization's mercy. You need to build your brand so that you can pivot at any point when you believe that an organization is not supporting your goal or is not supporting your futuristic plan. So thank you, Temi, for putting that comment through. So we're going to I'm going to go to the next question. I don't know if Dr. Zainab is available to answer this question. How can impact be effectively showcased in hybrid or remote work environment? This is a very important question, where you work outside of the organization or you work alone in a different location, and maybe your manager is not around you and is not able to see you. How do you then showcase your impacts even when you're working hybrid or remotely? Dr. Zainab, can you please give your insight to this question? And if she's not available, can we have Adetone please take this question? Adetone.
Okay, so the question is, how can impact be effectively showcased in a hybrid or remote work environment? So I'll say as much as possible, if you work in an environment where you don't see your manager face to face, as much as possible, always communicate with whatever tool that you use in your organization. Ensure that you consistently communicate on what you're doing, what you plan to do, what you have achieved. So basically, it's just constantly communicate. Don't keep your manager wondering, oh, what's this person doing today? You should, give updates to your manager. Communicate effectively, clearly. This is what I'm doing. This is what I plan to do. This is where we are on this project. And these are my achievements. Make use of the technological tools available to you. I'll just keep it simple as that. As much as possible, communicate within your team, not just to your manager, within your team. There are tools that companies that operate remotely or do hybrid kind of work use. So just ensure that you leverage on that. Communicate, give updates as regularly as possible. Ask questions. What else do you want me to do? Contribute, make contributions. Just make your impact felt in that team. There is no way you'll be working and your manager would not know you're working. If you're working, it means you're not a good team player, and it means you don't communicate very well. If you're working, everyone in the team would know what A is working on, what B is working on, what you have achieved, and all of that. So I'll just keep it simple as that. Communicate effectively, always constantly engage your manager, and be up to date on whatever it is that you have been assigned to do.
Thank you so much for that. I'll stay with you for this next question because we're supposed to be rounding up now. It's been a very insightful session. I'm sure the attendees would agree with me. What mindset shifts are needed to transition from being an employee to a high impact performer?
Mindset shift.
Yes.
So you need to, I don't know which of the panelists mentioned at the beginning that, oh, you're just here to do your job, go home. You have to shift away from that mindset. You have to realize that you are part of that organization, and you're in that organization to make contributions, to add value, and to make impact. You are a part of it. You're not just there as I come, I do my work. I don't even understand what the strategic goals, vision, mission, what the core values, what's my business. No, you must understand all of these things. If you don't know it, you can go back now, and go and read through all of those things. Understand the culture that exists in your organization, what is expected of you. Go beyond meeting expectation. Go beyond and above, use initiative, like I said, spot problems, identify problems, and come up with solutions. It's not just identifying problem, that you just identify problem and leave it at that. Oh, this is not good, this is not working. Identify problems, come up with solutions, suggest solutions, shift, it's just mindset shift. Have that ownership spirit. You are in the organization, you are also the owner of that organization, because if the organization is not making money, how do you get paid? You are the owner of the organization as well, as long as you work in that organization. So just have that mindset shift, be focused, and then understand everything that is going on in your organization. In other departments, understand what they do, understand how they do it, understand what is going on there. That's how you move from being an ordinary employee to a high impact employee. Mindset shift. Take ownership of your job. Understand what is going on in the organization, in your department, outside of your department, even in your industry. Make meaningful contributions. That's how you shift from an ordinary person to, a person that adds value to the organization. Don't
I think Adeto is present.
Yes, I think we lost her. She's probably having connectivity issues.
We lost her
network. Yes. So technology can sometimes be that way. It's been fine all the while, and now that we're about to end the session. So I would just like the panelists, starting with Dr. Omotola, to give us a final thought 20 seconds final thoughts on the session as we begin to round off.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
My laptop has given.
We can hear you and we can see you.
Hold on.
No problem.
Sorry. I don't know what's my laptop has given up the ghost though. But
we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
I'm echoing.
Yes, you are. So maybe we will go to Adetong if she's back on the call, or Dr. Zainab. Is Dr. Zainab back on the call, or is Adetong back on the call now?
Okay, I'm here. So
okay, if you just give 20 seconds, your final thoughts on impact employee and all that we've talked about since the start of the session.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, I would like to say, it's a good job that you guys were able to put together this session. I'm sure everyone on this session, has learned, one or two things, from this session. I will just round up with saying, in terms of you cultivating a high performance mindset as a high employee, there are things that you should note, such as embracing a growth mindset. You need to know that all high achievers are constantly seeking personal and professional growth. You don't have to wait for the company to take you on trainings. Dr. Motala mentioned something like that what you will get from the company is probably 30%. The remaining has to come, from yourself. So always ensure that you're seeking personal and professional growth by looking for new ways to be more effective. No knowledge is lost at the end of the day. Whatever knowledge you gain is for yourself. The company can't take that away from you. So you need to know that. Also, always go beyond expectations. Don't say, oh, I was paid to just come and do this, and that is final. I'm not doing anything after this. This is just what I'm doing. I always tell people, for everywhere that I have worked, you probably think I'm the CEO or I'm the owner of the company because of the way I carry the company on my head. And I think that is also something that has made me stand out in every organization that I have worked in. I go beyond and above what I'm expected to do. I remember there were times in my career where, yes, I was HR, but I was still doing a lot of marketing roles because of the skills that I have when it comes to talking to people, convincing people. And my CEO is like, Azena, the marketing team is going for this proposal. Can you please go with them? You know that you have a sweet mouth, those kind of things. So make sure that your company is able to see that kind of possession in you. Then develop discipline and efficiency. The to-do list that I said, you have to just make sure that, you prioritize your work properly so that you can achieve everything you set your mind to do. And then prioritize rest and wellness. It's never, too much. Thank you very much for having me on this session.
Thank you so much. And your contributions have been very insightful. We've learned a lot today. Thank you. I don't know if Dr. Omotola is back on the call. Yes. We're glad to have you back.
You can hear me, and I'm no longer echoing. Thank you. First of all, is the Shola that has been dropping chats, does she work with your team?
No, she doesn't.
Does she work with the present team? Okay, because I noticed there's only two people that held that carry that chat on their head. Shola and
they are being visible. They are being visible.
That is the way. But Shola, please, next time you're joining a Zoom session, add your surname. I could easily go and check Temi Adedoja on LinkedIn. I couldn't check you on LinkedIn because you don't have your surname. So when you go to get on Zoom calls, always add your surname. And I want to reward Shola with a free career consultation, clarity session, whatever it is you want to discuss in 1 hour. I'll reward you with that for being very engaging on the chat. Well done. I want to quickly answer the last question she asked. Please pardon me before I do my 20 seconds. That's part of my 20 seconds wrap up. But I'll oversee more than 20 seconds. She asked, Why can't I find it? Do you support having other endeavors outside your regular job to grow residual income? Again, by all means, have whatever it is that makes you happy and fulfilled. If it's a passion project, if it's a problem you feel highly led to solve, but not because you're focused on, this may sound controversial. I'm not saying don't make money from if it's oh God, why did I even attempt answering this question? Okay, let me try to put it in, I won't be misquoted. Well, maybe in my own personal experience, I have like 200 things I do. And when I started all of those things, it was because I wanted to genuinely impact my field. So I run a consulting practice. I run coaching by the side, mentoring by the side. I sit on boards. I also teach at 2 universities as a lecturer, postgraduate and undergraduate. I do all of these things outside of my 9 to 5. When I started my impact journey, it was because I felt highly led to do more for my space. I knew that I had a lot of talent, and I knew that that talent could go beyond my organization to bless the communities that I serve, my spheres of influence. That was the reason I started. And by default, when you start to solve problems, you will get paid for it, except you're in not-for-profit. So in finding something to do outside, if you let money to be the goal, you will be burnt out chasing the next big thing that you can cash out. And sometimes many times when you do that, you actually don't cash out because maybe you don't have enough knowledge about that field. You're not naturally built for it. You're just trying to copy others who are cashing out in that space. So my little advice is there's nothing wrong with trying to do other things outside the organization. Ensure that 2 things. Number one, it's not in conflict with your employment. You're not doing something that poses a conflict of interest with the organization in terms of you're in the same field the organization is in and all of that. Secondly, ensure that you feel genuinely connected to it as a sense of purpose, as a sense of passion, as something that you feel built in to do. That's when you will find joy in it, because the truth is there'll be dark days where you're not even making any money. Do you still continue to do it? You have to love it, so that whether you're making money on it or not, you're just enjoying yourself. And on that note, I'd say a very big thank you to the team for having us today. Overall, my 10 seconds word for everyone who's here is you're not a tree. In building your career, you're not a tree. If you're working in a place where you don't feel valued, you don't feel like you're finding a sense of value in it, you can always redirect, find another cause for your employment. And also the fact that you have magic, you have so much to give the world. Ensure that you're not hiding it under a bushel. You are the light of the world. That's what God called us, for those of us that are Christians. So just ensure that you find that unique thing that you bring to this world. Ensure that you do not deny the world of it. Go out there and shine, because you are light. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for the contribution. Like with all good things, we have come to the end of the question segment. I would now like to call on Adeola Olumegia to give the vote of thanks for this program before we go. She's the director of Kindle Academy Limited. Can we have Adeola Olumegia?
I'd forgive you, Mobola, because I remember the first time I heard the name as well. I struggled with it.
So please correct the pronunciation.
I definitely forgive you. Olumenyo. And for those who might be wondering, it means it's only God who knows a man, who truly knows a man. And I join you in saying I wish this wouldn't end, because every time each of the speakers spoke, every time they opened their mouth, it was just filled with wisdom. And I'm just super, super thankful to all of you, our panelists. And we can't thank you enough. From hearing, don't be socially lazy. I had a conversation where I was thinking, okay, I can't juggle everything that I'm doing and still be on LinkedIn, because someone was saying they don't see me much on LinkedIn anymore. And honestly, I felt that was a slap, like I'm being socially lazy. And to hearing, have an identity outside of your organization. I've got pages and pages. So I just want to thank you so much. And to all of the participants who've joined us and stayed till the end, I'm sure you know and you would agree that this was good use of your time. I'd only say that please don't just listen, be also doers of what you've heard. The things that have touched you, go ahead, and start to practice it. Look at your LinkedIn page, see what needs to be changed. Because, all of your questions, all of your engagements have enriched the dialogue today. And we're deeply grateful to you. Your support is deeply valued. Sincere gratitude also to the Kaizen team. Thank you, Temi, Adedoja, and Deborah Oludoyi. Thank you so much for organizing this and for ensuring its smooth execution. Your dedication, your hard work behind the scenes have made it possible for all of us to be so richly blessed today. So I'd like to thank everyone, and just to let you go on your day, but just don't forget what we do with Kaizen. It's not just this trainings. We also have your governance needs covered. So if it comes to board evaluation, corporate strategy, consulting, training, please reach out to us. And please, you can't listen to this just once. This is something you want to hear over and over again. So head on to our YouTube page and listen to it again, share it with your friends so that they are blessed as well if for any reason we're not able to join the session today. You can also follow us on Instagram at Kaizen Academy NGR Nigeria and on all of our other social media platforms. And don't forget, we have another session coming up. You can always trust that every session that we bring is impactful and we're set to change lives, as long as you're following everything and you're executing those. Next webinar is Thursday, 23rd, 2025. So please mark your calendars. Again, it will be on a Thursday. The topic this time around will be Smarter Counsel. It will be on artificial intelligence, how to drive legal and governance excellence. And we look forward to hosting you again at that event. Thank you again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your week. I look forward to catching up with all of you on LinkedIn.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody, for joining the session. And it's goodbye from me.
All right. Thank you. Have a fantastic day, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Well done. Bye-bye.
If you accidentally fall out of a plane, most people think you should aim to land in water. But in reality, that's the worst option. The thing is, water doesn't compress well, and you'll be falling at over 200 miles per hour. The impact feels the same. It's just like hitting concrete. It's better to choose another spot if possible. For example,
Kaizen Academy, the best governance firm in Nigeria. With a presence in Lagos, Abuja, Kenya, South Africa, and the UK, Kaizen Academy is your trusted partner in business transformation. Rooted in the Japanese principle of Kaizen continuous improvement, we offer world-class governance advisory, strategy formulation, board appraisals, compliance automation, and more. Our mission, to strengthen people, systems, and organizations with excellence at the core. Recognized globally for our quality, ranked among Nigeria's top consulting firms and awarded Best Public Speaking and Customer Service Training Company in 2024, Kaizen Academy blends deep local insights with global expertise. Whether you're a business leader, board member, or HR professional, we equip you to thrive in today's fast-changing world. Partner with us and grow the Kaizen way.
He climbed a 10,000-meter tower just to go viral, but almost died instead. When he reached the top, he felt invincible, so he pulled out his phone and started live streaming. Views began pouring in, and comments about his bravery flooded the screen. He smiled, soaking in the attention, until the sky rumbled. But then, a deafening crack of thunder echoed behind him. Panicked, he reached for his safety hook to climb down, but it slipped, and he fell from the top. His life flashed before his eyes until he remembered. He was wearing a parachute. He pulled the cord and took a deep breath. But seconds later, the parachute malfunctioned, and he couldn't control where he was going. And now, he was flying straight toward a building with a giant iron door. He braced for impact, but right before he hit,
the door opened and he landed at Kaizen Academy, the best governance firm in Nigeria. With a presence in Lagos, Abuja, Kenya, South Africa, and the UK, Kaizen Academy is your trusted partner in business transformation. Rooted in the Japanese principle of Kaizen continuous improvement, we offer world-class governance advisory, strategy formulation, board appraisals, compliance automation, and more. Our mission, to strengthen people, systems, and organizations with excellence at the core. Recognized globally for our quality, ranked among Nigeria's top consulting firms and awarded Best Public Speaking and Customer Service Training Company in 2024, Kaizen Academy blends deep local insights with global expertise. Whether you're a business leader, board member, or HR professional, we equip you to thrive in today's fast-changing world. Partner with us and grow the Kaizen way.